Happy Sunday after Easter. Last week, we got to celebrate Jesus' resurrection. And even though we didn't get to celebrate in the same way that we normally do, we still got to remember that Jesus is alive. And because Jesus is alive, we have new life too. It's such a good reminder, especially right now when the world feels kind of scary and it's easy to doubt that things are going to be good than it is to believe that things are going to be good. Our lesson today talks about just that, about how even from the very beginning, it's sometimes hard to believe in good things happening or to believe that people are going to keep their promises, especially that God is going to keep promises. I want to show you guys here. So some of you guys know me, and because you know me, if I showed you this bag and I said that there was an apple in there, some of you would trust that that is what is in there because you know me and I have earned your trust. But some of you may not believe me. You may think, she's playing a trick on me, or maybe I haven't earned your trust yet, so you don't want to believe me that there's an apple in there. Even if I brought friends in here, I've had 5 different people look in here and you say, there's an apple in there. Some of you, that might make it easier to believe. Yep, I believe there's an apple in there because Miss Anna said so and those other people said so. I believe there's an apple in there. But for some of you, that may not be enough. It may still be hard to believe. But if I showed you what was in here, then it would be easier to believe. Okay, there was an apple in there. I can see it now with my own eyes, and I can believe that there's an apple in that bag because Miss Anna just put it in there and I saw it happen. That's kind of like our story today, which is often called Doubting Thomas. When Jesus was resurrected and alive again, he went and visited his friends, the disciples, and all of them except Thomas were there. And it was so hard for them to believe that Jesus was alive that they almost didn't recognize him. But once he spoke, they recognized him and they worshiped him. And then they told Thomas that they had seen Jesus and that he was alive. But even though Thomas's best friends, the people that he'd been living and working with and serving with, told him that Jesus was alive, he didn't believe them. And then Jesus showed up right in front of Thomas's face, and it was still hard for him to believe. And Jesus put his hands out, and once Thomas was able to touch his hands, then Thomas said, "Oh, Jesus, it's you." And he fell down and he worshiped Jesus. So for Thomas, it was so hard for him to believe because it seemed so impossible that Jesus would be alive. He had been feeling so sad that he needed to touch Jesus's hands to believe. Us now, we don't get that chance to have Jesus's body and person sit right next to us and to teach us, for us to see with our eyes and hear with our ears and touch his hands with our hands. We don't get that chance right now. So our belief comes from reading about Jesus and feeling the things that feeling God in our hearts. And Jesus told Thomas at that time, it's easy to believe when you can see, but people who believe without being able to see, they are blessed. So I want you guys to kind of be thinking about, what does it mean for us to believe without seeing? And maybe there are some things that you guys can think about that you believe in, even though you can't see them at a particular moment. Like for me, I believe that my family loves me and that I love them, even though that love is not something I can really see. I can see the actions that come from that love, but I can't see the love itself. Or at nighttime, when I can't see the sun and I can't feel its warmth on my skin, I still believe that the sun is still there and will come again in the morning because I've had experience with that, and I know that the sun comes back every morning, and I have felt its warmth and I have seen it. And that's one of the ways that we have our faith now, is that God points us in the direction of belief. And we get to experience kind of the magic feeling of believing in God, even though Jesus isn't right here with us. So I encourage you guys to read our Bible story today, which is from the book of John, chapter 20, verses 19 through 31, and read it together and see what your family together, what you guys think about this lesson, what that means. If you have any thoughts on it, go ahead and send me an email. I would love to hear from you guys. Take care, and I will see you next week.